Hi everyone, welcome back to the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center. I'm GoLocal News Editor Kate Nagel. I'm joined today by Lynne Michaelson, an Edgewood resident that is concerned about the potential for the new Cumberland Farms there in Edgewood that's been on the docket for a while. Lynne, thanks for coming in.
Thanks so much for having me, Kate.
So you have a bird's eye view of the process and what's going on because you live 30 feet from the proposed site.
Yes, I do.
Okay, so talk with us a little bit. It's the end of 2017. There's been a lot of talk about this for a while now. So let's start from when you first heard it back in 15 to where we are today.
Yes, well, actually in 2015, this was on the docket, and the council actually voted against the zoning change that would enable the Cumberland Farms. So we all thought that it was over. We thought that we were fine. And then sometime this fall, we heard that it was back on the docket. We don't know why it got back on the docket, but we're very concerned. And then we also heard that since the council was changed, there were some new members, that basically it had a chance of passing this time. So a bunch of us concerned Edgewood residents got together. We formed a Facebook group, Edgewood Doesn't Want Cumberland Farms, and we have been working to try to get the word out that we need to speak up against this zoning change that would allow the Cumberland Farms to be in our neighborhood.
So talk with us a little bit, again, if folks know the Edgewood area, there's some commercial, but it really comes down to the zoning, does it not?
Yes.
That you said, your argument is that something of this scope and size is not intended to be there.
Yes, exactly. Yes, right now the properties in question are zoned B1 or C2. Those type of properties allow residential housing and small businesses. C3 properties, they are not allowing any kind of residential houses, and these are for larger businesses. Actually, one thing that is a little nerve-wracking is if they do change it to C3 and the Cumberland Farms does not come in, nightclubs and motels and hotels can be on C3 zoned properties.
So it can be a convenience store, a nightclub,
yes,
a hotel or a motel. That's a big change from small business and residential.
Yes, and this is a very densely populated residential area. The houses are close together. It's a very walkable neighborhood. It's a neighborhood where a lot of people will take the bus to go to work, they'll commute. We have a lot of kids that walk to and from school. So we really would prefer small businesses where people can walk, they can maybe go to a bike shop, go to a little, copy center, something that's useful for the residents. We already have 5 or 6 gas stations within a mile. We don't need another gas station. We have Stop and Shop, we have Shaw's, we have all of these little mini marts. We don't need another convenience store. And this will really decrease the walkability of our community.
And there are concerns for the pedestrian safety, again, on Park Ave in this particular area. I did see on the Facebook group page, someone was driving and took a picture of a car pulling out from the Dunkin' Donuts.
Yes.
And it's a double yellow line. There's not a break. So there's already safety concerns to begin with about traffic and traffic patterns and pedestrian safety. But you've got health concerns as well.
Yes, I do. I did a lot of research seeing that I'm within 30 feet of the gas pumps that are proposed. And it turns out the gasoline has a carcinogen. It's benzene. And a lot of studies show that you need to live at least 300 feet away from the gas pumps to be safe. There's been multiple studies done. Actually, several cities have zoning requirements that say that residential properties have to be at least 300 feet away from the gas pumps. We, of course, don't seem to have that in Cranston. So I'm very concerned. We have at least 10 small children that live on my street. Actually, we may have 11. My neighbor was due any day now. And so this is quite a concern because this health studies show that there's a 4 times increased risk of leukemia in children, 7 times increased risk for another type of leukemia. So this is serious stuff. This isn't just, a simple health concern. We're talking about cancer. So I would really like to see this zoning change not go through so we don't have these health concerns in our neighborhood.
And what have your conversations been to date? I see on the page, again, letting elected officials know, but who have you talked to and what is the response that you've heard so far?
Me personally, I have sent letters to all of our councilmen in Cranston and the mayor, and I have received back information from probably 3 to 4 of the councilmen. And so some have said that they're keeping an open mind, they're gathering information. Some have said whether they were leaning one way or the other. They're all trying to be very open until the actual vote. But I haven't heard back from many councilmen. So I do not know where their position is. And specifically, councilmen that did not vote for the zoning previously and now are sponsoring the zoning bill. I would really like to understand why they changed, but I have not heard back yet.
And who are those particular councilmen? I don't want to put you on the spot here if you need to tell me after the fact.
Yeah, I actually probably can't give you the exact names. I might not even be able to pronounce them. But
that's fine. We'll probably put that in the article to let you know, because as an aware and concerned constituent, you want to know what's taking place there. Do we have a sense of time frame when they're looking to act on this?
Yes, the Planning Commission meeting is January 2nd at 7 p.m. and the venue's been changed to the Cranston East Auditorium. Now that meeting will be specifically just to look at land use and the zoning.
Okay.
It's very important to get the public opinion at the January 11th meeting in front of the Ordinance Committee of the Council. So that's 7 p.m. Right now it's still scheduled at the council chambers, but I expect a large turnout. So that's really important to make your voice heard at the January 11th meeting.
And talk with us a little bit. This group has decided under your own volition to say, okay, they might do their own studies from the city of Cranston, but we want our own independent traffic analyst. You have a GoFundMe page you've identified a person, an expert in the field that can do it, to review any plan that the city puts forth. I mean, no stone left unturned.
Right, yes. Well, we are very concerned because now that this has come back after 2 years of thinking that it was over, we really want to make sure that we make our point and that we're heard and that all of the issues are investigated properly.
Well, there's the Facebook page. You're here doing media. Of course, you're letting as many folks as possible know. And it's very concentrated clearly in the Edgewood area. It's the residents. Yes. It's like anything else. All politics is local. But should folks around the city have concerns as well, in your opinion, that they should be taking action as well?
Well, I think one point to consider is, what do we want our communities to look like? Do we want to have gas stations and mini marts, or do we want to have nice shops, small businesses, walkability? Do we want to have communities that people want to move into and raise families and feel safe? Or do we want to have communities that have a lot of big box stores and a lot of traffic? So I think that that is a question for all of us, not just Edgewood.
And as you raise the point about zoning, because again, on the edge of a commercial area, but it really comes down to the type of commercial business.
Correct.
Anything else you want folks to know while you're here today? We're going to have this up on GoLocal tomorrow, but we like very local politics, and this gets very local. The meeting on January 2nd, January 11th, the GoFundMe page, which is looking to raise $1,000 and
yes.
over halfway towards the goal.
Yes, we are. Yeah. So if you are concerned about this issue, there's a Facebook page, Edgewood Doesn't Want Cumberland Farms, and you do need to be accepted onto the page, but it has a lot of information and you'll be able to find all the resources.
Well, I appreciate your taking the time to come in and let folks know. Again, things get a little hectic around the holiday time, but all of a sudden January comes, the new year's off to a start, so if it's something of concern, feel free to check out the page, put those dates on your calendar. But as we do here in the studio at GoLocal, we like to bring very local concerns to the rest of the state, so I appreciate, Lynne, you're taking the time to come in today.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'll let you around the corner. Lynne Michaelson with the concerned residents of Edgewood. Now, they are fighting the proposed zoning change that would allow for a Cumberland Farms, again, in that Edgewood commercial area, which currently has a different zoning distinction. There's a proposal to change that to allow for bigger business, and as Lynne mentioned, could actually mean motels or nightclubs. So there's a couple of meetings coming up in Cranston. You can expect Edgewood residents to be out in force concerning that in the new year. But here we are at the middle of the week, getting ready for the holiday season, already in the holidays. We appreciate everyone watching. 3 o'clock with The Taste with Rick Simone was all things sweet. There's a lot left around here at the office. We're going to be poking around, seeing what's going on. Always a great show. Be sure to check that out if you didn't have the opportunity to. But first half of this one, we had all things Pawtucket. Jeremy Duffy with the Isle Brewers Guild. Their new brewing small batch in a house to allow people to tinker with new ideas. They're going to be releasing new beers almost on a weekly basis, so folks who have gone to the Guild can expect that as a new offering. In addition, he mentioned in 2018 some pretty big changes in store. They're looking to put a new beer hall and a beer garden in the facility. So just started in 17, looks like there's going to be even more growth in 18. Mayor Don Grabian came in once again. He's been in here many times to talk about the Paw Sox. We have seen the new legislation put forth by the Senate. They are talking about the potential for a vote when the General Assembly comes back in session in January. Speaker of the House, Nicholas Mattiello, has been very hesitant to date. Mayor Grabian talked about his Plan B, which he said he would try to put on the table if it went through the Senate and not the House. But again, talking to the potential for Worcester to, again, court the Paw Sox away from Pawtucket and what he says that would mean to the city. And also addressing what the naysayers have been saying, that the new legislation they believe is a worse deal, and talking about addressing opponents as well. But Lynne Michaelson going over to Cranston into Edgewood about the new Cumberland Farms proposal, which was on the table back in 2015. She said residents thought it was dormant, wasn't going to go anywhere after it didn't go anywhere the first time, but here it is, back again. They'll be looking at that in January as well. So wishing everyone a good Wednesday evening out there. We'll be back in studio at 3 o'clock tomorrow with Molly O'Brien. 4 o'clock, you'll get Rick Simone again. So stay tuned for that. It's a special show. But of course, stay tuned for more content on GoLocalProv.com. We appreciate your watching. We appreciate your feedback. We look forward to seeing you back here in studio tomorrow in the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center. I'm GoLocal News Editor Kate Nagel.